Stream off. I don't know if we're actually live though.
Find out the hard way.
Yes. I don't mind. We're here. And we are live! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. Welcome to the closing stages of the 24 hours of F1 2023. Oh my goodness me, what an incredible journey it has been so far. My name is King Kodiak. I am taking over from the ever vigilant Jess. My God, she's had a stunning session. I've got to give a special shout out to J-Col as well, who's been streaming on the Twitch side all event and still will to the end of the series. Salute to you, sir. Don't know how you do it. I'm far too old for such antics. Alongside me, Car Mentalist, a great pleasure to share the box with you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a pleasure to share as well. We were just having a conversation about it, weren't we? We see each other's names all the time, but we've never actually commentated before. So yeah, first time for everything, and it's great to be in here with you.
Yes, it is a great pleasure. Just apparently the YouTube stream is still up. Just I had a suddenly worrying Mrs. there saying, has it just ended? No. The stream is still live. Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, as has been alluded to, oh my, it's wet. It's very, very, very wet. So this will be interesting. One-shot qualifying, as has been the norm, just about to get underway. Who should we ride on board with? It is picked for me Linus Donovan from ABS. So I have no reason particularly to change. Oh, what are your thoughts about Monza in the wet?
Scary, I think, is the one word that you go for Monza in the wet, isn't it? I think Monza's scary at the best of times in the dry, but yeah, put yourself in extreme wet conditions as well. It's a very difficult track to get right. It's a lot of heavy braking zones and quick direction changes, and that in wet conditions is very difficult. So yeah, these drivers are really being tested with a wet race this year. Very
much so indeed. So as the drivers continue to work their way through the laps, or through the lap, I should say, I'm watching Linus Donovan at this point in time, or I was. I've accidentally changed driver there. Just coming through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. I haven't been up very long, so my apologies. I still have three, including this one, left to go. But screaming on down towards Ascari. Everybody knows the dry braking points. You just got to try and adjust. The braking point themselves don't change as far as distance to a huge degree. You do brake a little bit earlier. It's how you brake, because it's so easy just to lock it up and send you sailing off into the distance. Into the Parabolica. I don't care what it's called. It's Parabolica as far as I'm concerned. As Linus flirts with the outside line. Who's going to come out on top? Well, Team NSX are at the moment at the top of the points table, with Greenfly very hot on their heels, and it looks like NSX have got the pole again.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, Selly puts it on the top of the timesheets, and by a good, comfortable margin as well. I think that was nearly 0.4 of a second, just under 0.3 of a second, I say, to Volokongan, who's had a really good qualifying there for EMM as well. So top two in the championship, top two there up at the front of the field, but really strong quality there from Selly once again.
Yeah, it's NSX have been absolutely stellar throughout the series. They're last year's champion, but in fairness, they're really being kept honest, aren't they? By Greenfly. Now, a lot of the early talk, certainly early in the streams, on favourite liveries. Have you picked yours, Mr. Car Mentalist?
It's a hard one to know. I think I don't really know which one I'll go for. I was the clean vigor one is definitely catching my eye. I think that's a very lovely livery that they've got on the QVR team. That's a really nice kind of colour combination that they've got going on. But I'm in a bit of a phase at the moment. I'm a sucker for a black and white livery, so the NSX livery is also very nice as well. I do enjoy it. So as I think many people would call that simple, I quite like it. I think it looks sleek. So I'd say, yeah, NSX and QVR are the ones that I'm looking at.
Greenfly, I'm afraid, get my vote on that one. Although the NSX one is good. There's no two words about that. I do actually really like, but I'm a sucker for green. So especially green and black, and that's me usually sold. So the Greenfly team have kind of I've secretly been cheering on. We commentators, we try and remain as neutral as we can, but we're all human. We all kind of back someone, but everybody has been giving it their absolute all, and it's been great to see, even at this late stage, that people are going to be tired by this point, very tired. So it's not really a surprise that we may well be seeing a few more mistakes coming out or what have you at this late stage. I think huge respect to those that have been. I was looking away and I missed the race start. That's very bad of me.
Ooh.
But that's round. That's oh my goodness me! It's Linus that has been affected by that, or quite a few drivers affected by the unfortunate start coming down into the first chicane. A slight unfortunate, but predictable, you could argue, with it being so. But it is full wet conditions. That's why I'm almost pointless to turn the tyre gauge on by this particular point. It's NSX from Volakongan. So our first two remaining in their positions. Lots of changing behind.
Yeah, there was a big contact further behind, definitely. That was Linus, I think, being rear-ended into the braking zone. I didn't quite see who it was, but there was front-wing end plates flying left, right and centre going in towards turn number 1. So a lot of people there with a bit of damage at the start of this race. I think, like I say, a lot of people not used to the fact that we're on extreme wets, let alone just the intermediates. I think the extreme wets barely ever get used because they're not really the most usable tyre, even in wet conditions. So yeah, a lot of people are not used to it, and that's going to be potentially a lot of people in for a front wing change at the end of this lap. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Linus, who was third on the grid, he's now down to 11th after that contact. I think there's a lot more people that have suffered from that as well, as Senna's dropping a couple of places after a good start, so he may be another one potentially that has a bit of front wing damage. Can't quite see any, but yeah, definitely going to be struggling a little bit. Yeah, Selly and Volakonga, though, have completely driven away at the front of the field. Perfect start for them. They just watched all the carnage happen in their rearview mirror.
Absolutely. So, as Senna, as we thought, an early victim of this particular race. Larkin is up 5 positions from where he began, and he's now just coming into the very perilous first braking zone of that first chicane. So that's 3 cars coming in for their stop. Now, the 2 stops are not mandatory, but you aren't going to make it to the end, and that's Campbell, who has retired. That's a pit lane retirement. Oh dear, that's against the rules, unfortunately. I do believe that's clean vigor, is that not, for Campbell? It is. So unfortunately we won't get to enjoy your favourite livery for this race.
That is such a shame. Now I've got to pick another one now. I mean, maybe I think other teams won't want me to pick another one because it might curse them, unfortunately. But we'll go with NLR now. I do like a colour green as well, so their livery is nice and standing out. So we'll go for that one to look at for the rest of this one. And speaking of NLR, Justin's had a good start. He's up 3 places, up into 3rd. So just had a good race he did at the previous one in Miami, and looking to carry on that one in the wet conditions here at Monza. But you can see already Selly and Volakongan just seem to be in another world. They are driving away from the rest of the field. Currently in P4 as well. 17 MTK is otherwise known as Izat. We know Izat very well. He's doing a pretty good job at the moment in P4 at the moment for Relentless. Relentless have not had the best of rounds, best of 24 hours so far this time around. They've had better results as of recently, but yeah, looking to make up. They just had a retirement, I believe, in the previous race in Miami. So Izat trying to see if he can make up for some lost points in the previous race.
Oh, Linus Donovan! Ooh. I just cut to you, coming through Parabolica. He had the cojones to try an inside line manoeuvre on Parabolica in the full wet. Oh, someone's had their bravery pills this morning. A superb effort. Didn't quite yield, although now coming into the Retifinio chicane braking zone sideways. Gosh, truth alive. That was very, very brave, and it has finally yielded the position. Nice move there from ABS. God, that was something. Saw an open door on the inside line in the wet, had the faith that the car would stick, and sent it, essentially. So still a bit of a gathering towards the tail end of the field. I'm not really surprised to see the field is fragmenting a bit quicker than we've seen in some other races. But yeah, Volakongan is nailed to the back of Selly. That is no mean feat at all.
Yeah, definitely is, and it's great to see that they're fighting so hard at the front of the field, doing a brilliant job. And yeah, I think unfortunately for them, their fight would have been with Linus today but that contact in the first corner has really put Linus down the field. But that would be good to watch, to see him come back through the field, so how quickly he can get through. His next target is Cyril Duwil for P12, and he's almost into the back of him, running out of Ascari. He's got to run down towards the Parabolica again, but this time he's going to be on the outside. He's just dropped back in behind maybe thinking about a switch to the inside, but he's not going to be close enough, I don't think, by the time he hits the braking zone, but we'll wait and see. He's thinking about it, but again, just not quite in the wheel tracks there. Or do well is, can he get the better run off the corner maybe? You can see he has got a lot of grip on the traction zones coming out of the corner. He is trying again side by side. I think it's going to have to be a late braking move though if he wants to try and get that move done.
Absolutely so. Lovely three-way fight for third position I'm looking at the moment. NLR Justin with YK17MTK. Not sure how you're supposed to say that, but that's as close as I'm going to get. And Liam Craig as well. So Liam's used a lot of his ERS very, very early, which I'm a little bit surprised. They were only on lap 4 and he was already kind of in the teens as far as percentage was concerned. So I'm surprised to have seen so much energy used. Yeah, Sally has really started to break away now, start to really get into his rhythm. 1.2 seconds, although my timing's not updating for some reason. Why that's not updating for him? It's stuck at 1.2 seconds on my screen. So they're either very consistent in maintaining that gap, or that's a bit of a problem on my side. Apologies for that. Then look at 7th position of Ben JS 4412, and he's got quite a bit of a pack as that car gets really, really sideways. That's the CSL car. That's not a bad livery on that car either, in fairness. Look at the streaming cars behind him. Not that he can see, because anytime he looks in his mirrors, all he can just see is basically fog. Absolute spray, which I don't envy anybody that is trying to size up a move with a face full of completely impenetrable spray.
Yeah, that is very difficult, especially when you're at the back of the queue to see anything. And around a track where you need to be focused on the braking zones the whole time, it's very difficult, as you can see there. Ben JS again sliding his way into the braking zone almost to try and get the car stopped. So yeah, doing a good job at the moment for CSL in 7th. They did miss the previous race, so they are down a few points there. And so we've got a yellow flag further back down the field. I think that is AJDW that's had a spin. No, that's Gendrick that's had a spin, unfortunately, in P16. He's had a spin at the chicane. I don't know if that's through contact or just a spin on his own, but that is a few places lost for him. And I don't know if Linus has picked up some damage or something, but Linus, who was working his way forwards, seems to be dropping back again. He's now back down behind Duwil, and now Manduka's managed to get through as well. So he's, not having the best of times. Oh, a bit of contact there in the first Lesmo. He manages to get past AJDW again, but with a bit of help of some bumping into the first Lesmo. So Linus keeps going forward and then dropping back again. So whatever worked for him in quali isn't working for him in the race at the moment.
No, indeed. There was a bit of a sideways moment for Linus coming into the rest of the video chicane. That first chicane, I think, was what caused that yellow flag. He ended up with a big snap of oversteer and pushing, I believe it was Manduka, slightly off the road. So that was what initially caused that yellow flag. Who else can we have a look at? Justin just has one pursuer now. The NLR car only has YK17 MTK in that the kind of the jaw liveried car. Who is that?
Relentless, that is.
Oh, that's the Relentless car. Yeah, that will be a really good score for them, because they've not had the greatest series. They're only 14th on 121 points leading into this race. Put that in perspective, NSX, our current champions and championship leaders, are on 374. It's not been a great series for them, so this will really catapult them potentially quite a few positions up if they can maintain that near podium finish. But that's far easier said than done in these conditions.
Yeah, far easier said than done, like you say. It takes a lot of concentration to get these ones done, and he's closing in on the back of Justin. Justin did have a big moment coming out the first Lesmo that time around, but yeah, it's going to be difficult to make the overtake stick. But yeah, YK17MTK, we'll call him Izat, because I do know that is Izat driving that car, but they don't make it easy on us. They always like to test us with their names, but yeah, he's always been good in the wet, so it'll be good to see him try and get this move done. And like you say, Relentless need a good score as Gendrick has dropped the car. Coming out the second Lesmo, that is him in the wall, and that is officially our second retirement from this race. That is such a shame, but second Lesmo on the exit of the corner is so easy to do if you just take a little bit too much curb. There's no way you're saving that car if you spin it on the exit.
No, you won't catch it in the dry, let alone in the wet. You just flirt with the grass too much, and it will spin you round. And that third position has changed. The relentless car. Can they get it slowed down? Just about in time for the first chicane. So a nice straightforward move there is Kintix and Liam as well for 9th position. Again, very similar vein. That's long run from the Parabolica down towards the rest of the video is a favourite overtaking spot in this race, particularly in these conditions. You want as, quote, as easy an overtake as you possibly can, especially when you haven't got as much traction as you would potentially like. So Justin is disconnected. Oh dear. So that's a shame. That's from 4th. So the NLR car is in trouble.
Yeah, that's such a shame. That is an open door as well for Liam Craig. He is going to take that P4 on the road now. He's just about to take it. But yeah, that is such a shame for Justin. I was going to say just before that he disconnected that I was watching that overtake with Izzat all the way down that straight. Izzat, I think, is running a lot lower downforce than Justin is, because he breezed past in a straight line like he had the DRS open, and he wasn't really using that much ERS in comparison. So yeah, I think Justin was one of those drivers maybe running a bit more downforce to help him in the middle part of the lap, but it's costing him a lot on the straights. But now, unfortunately, that he's lagged out of the lobby, that is not going to be of any use whatsoever. Hopefully he can get back in and he can get back in control of that car again, and then Lark can still get some points on the board. But yeah, next person to pass him is Fox for X Esports. And X Esports, another team that have slightly struggled, but they've had a good couple of races so far. Just had a P6 finish in the previous race in Miami, and now looking for a top 5 here potentially as they get past Justin down in towards the chicane.
Yeah, so overtaking the Foxborough doesn't need to think about. Another couple of people coming in, so Speed Kai and Linus coming in from the tail end of the field to serve a pit stop. As we said, it's not a mandatory amount of stops they have to do, I believe, for the wet race. Just they won't make it without doing at least one, and with the amount of discarded carbon fibre we've seen, you're likely to need to visit the pits several times. Hopefully Justin is able to reconnect to the lobby to save the descent of NLR, because that's a shame. They were in a really strong position. They're 7th, or they were 7th coming into this round, so very close competition between themselves, Humberger and TES, but as we can see, they are just plummeting down through the field now. Very great shame. But who else can we have a look at? So several drivers have really done well, several as far as their gains are concerned. Unfortunately, Ben has just earned the ire of the track limit penalty, the angriest steward in all of sim racing, as Justin has managed to reappear, so hopefully he can start to claw that back. But that's going to be such a difficult job to claw back a deficit like that in a few laps. And now we've got some more pit stops going on from the front of the field.
Yeah, he's out into the pit lane, and Liam follows him in, as well as Ben JS. Yeah, they're all kind of pitting at the near exact halfway point, aren't they? So yeah, they are into the pit lane, and yeah, hopefully Justin can gain some of those places back. I think another note there as well is that NLR, I think this is NLR's double points round. So that is a real shame for NLR if that disconnect has happened on their double points round. I'll double check that, but I think that is the case. So,
it is indeed, yes.
Yeah, that is a shame. So them running 3rd would have been brilliant for them in that double points, but yeah, the disconnect has really cost them. Hopefully through the pit stop phase they can gain some of those places back, but yeah, it's hard enough in the wet to keep it in position, let alone try and make some places up. So yeah, we'll see what they can do, but there's still plenty of time to go in this race. Hopefully, and as long as he's inside the top 10 and still scoring, they can get those double points on the board and save something from this race. And he's actually just retired.
Oh, he's retired the car, and that's an on-track retirement, so that would ironically turn into a penalty. So,
yeah,
oh dear.
From what was a double point, from what was a double points, it's now turned into a negative, which is a real shame. I don't really understand why he's retired, because yes, obviously he's not in the position he was in, but he has still got an opportunity to get points, and he's just kind of given up, which is a real shame. It's sad to see. Speaking of people that haven't given up on this race, good to see Ivor Bryn Mike, after the contact and damage on the opening lap, still running around at the back of the field, keeping the car on the road. That's good to see. It's great to see people continuing on in this race, even if it's not gone their way. So hats off to Ivor for still driving the wisdom around the circuit. As Fox Blue is the next of the leaders to come into the pit lane from P4. He takes his pit stop as Crossley and follows him in as well. And just a reminder that Selly and Volokongren are in this race. They are just so far clear of the rest of the field. They've completely dropped the rest of them at the moment. Selly and Volokongan only separated by 2 seconds. You can tell Selly is just a little bit more comfortable. But before the pit stop phase, I think they were nearly 10 seconds up the road to Izzat. So they are in a world of their own at the moment.
Yeah, they are very much sailing off into the distance. More pit stops going on. So now, who hasn't pitted? It's just the top 3 at the moment that have yet to see the pit lane. So, vast majority of those going for a one-stop strategy, judging by the lap that they have come in on. I can't imagine there's an awful lot of life left on the tyres of those top 3. So we'll see. As I was watching Selly then, he got a real moment coming out of Ascari. That could have spelt a very rapid end to his particular race. Is he going to come in this time? We'll stay with him through Parabolica. His pit crew are probably wondering their life choices at this point. And in he comes. Does Volokongan come in as well? No, he chooses to continue just for one more lap. Now, again, whether he knows he's sharing a pit box with someone or he's just wanting to do something differently to Selly, we don't know. And there's the second penalty. It's time for Liam Craig. So, well, that's going to at least put him in level pecking with Ben. But even if Liam hadn't got that penalty, even if Ben hadn't got his penalty, he still would have been in good stint anyway, because of the gap that he has built, about a 5-second gap or so, or was before the pit stops. Where will Kintix? Kintix has had a really good race this time. He's even now, as Cuz is still coming past him, he's up quite a few positions. Larkin has the biggest net gain at the moment, but that's put Kintix right in the middle of a pack. It's not ideal. Oh, is he getting a bit uncomfortable coming through the first chicane, but does manage to get up to speed. Larkin, he's up 6 positions from where he began. So yeah, he's had a really, really good start to a very tricky race.
Yeah, he really has. As typical Larkin fashion, I've raced against Larkin and commentated with Larkin and done many a thing with Larkin in the past. This seems to be his forte. Is not being the strongest in qualifying, but he's a very smart racer. He knows what he's doing, and yeah, he's kept himself out of trouble, gained a lot of places, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more places for him to gain later on. I mean, he is just outside of penalty range to Ben JS, so there's an opportunity there for another place for Larkin to try and gain. Is a bit further down the field, Cross Liam right on the back of Speed Kai, I think, coming down the back straight towards the Ascari chicane, and Cross Liam's going to go for the inside line in towards the Ascari. Can he get the car stopped in the braking zone? Yes, he can. Nice easy move there for Cross Liam for IoT. Up into 9th place, Kai down into 10th place. So yeah, good move there from Cross Liam. He is back up into 9th position. Good stuff for him. As Volokongan is into the pit lane, I believe he is the last of those who have pitted. So he comes out back behind Selly again, but still ahead of Izzat. Well, I say still ahead of Izzat, only just ahead of Izzat. Izzat is right behind Volokongan. Izzat, of course, was one of the first of the leaders to pit. So Volokongan, that later pit stop, almost costing him a track position to Izzat, but Izzat just not quite close enough to capitalise. And now Volokongan has the fresher chance to try and pull away again.
Well, that pit stop has done Volokongan no favours at all, considering what the gap was between himself and Selly. So staying out that extra lap has very much backfired, and now he's going to have to play the defensive game immediately against Izzat right behind him, and just riding on board with anybody. You get this almighty great wheel spin. Oh, that's trouble down at the first chicane.
Linus.
Oh, Linus again. Oh, what a shame for him. He's having a terrible run. I think I just switched to Manduka. I was going to say he's going a little bit slowly, but then it's difficult to get traction when the weather is this bad. Oh, Linus, what a great shame for ABS. That's, again, no disrespect, man, because these drivers are doing a fantastic job out there, and some of these guys have been awake a very, very long time to make sure that their races are dealt with, but it's a shame to see. You never want to see it, but it's not going well for him. I'm now looking at Larkin and Kintix. They are nailed together as they come through Ascari. Fastest lap to Selly is not really a surprise to anybody. Again, no disrespect meant to him or the team, but obviously the expectation was set very early on with that early pace from our championship leaders and our previous year's champions.
Yeah, it is no surprise, like you say, NSX are strong no matter the condition, no matter the circuit, as they've done a brilliant job so far. As that Larkin and Kintick's battle is underway down the front straight, and look at that, Kintick's not even a contest, he just drove past Larkin down the straight, used that bit of VRS, he is through in towards the first chicane, gets the car stopped nice and easily as well. Kintick's up into 7th, Larkin down to 8th, and yeah, Kintick's, he's got some good speed in that car. There is a couple of positions ahead of him. Foxboo and Ben JS aren't far up the road, he can still catch them. Of course, Ben, like we've mentioned, is one of those ones with a penalty, so he is still well within range for Kintick's to gain a 6th position. If he can catch Foxboo, a top 5 is on the card, so that is going to be something that he will definitely try and gain if that is something that he can think about. But yeah, looking at the front of the field, Selly now gap nearly up to 6 seconds between himself and Volokongan. Crucially for Volokongan, he has dropped his that slightly bit, so it's now up to about 1.5 seconds, that gap between himself and Izzat. So Izzat is no longer right on the tail of Volokongan. Volokongan has got a bit of breathing space.
And into the pit again comes Linus. Just come back out. Did he have a fresh nose fitted? I didn't see the pit stop take place, so
he did. Yeah.
That was again somewhat explains why that happened. Wasn't Maduka's fault. Some help from another car, and that's a big factor in these weather conditions. It makes the car that much more difficult to control. Another great battle forming is Ben and Foxblue for 5th position. Foxblue adopted a bit more of a defensive posture coming out of Parabolica. Here comes Ben. He's going to be side by side. This is going to be very brave in these conditions. Can Ben slow the car down? He does. I think Foxblue kind of just relented a little bit on that one. Again, Ben's penalty will drop him below that point by 3 seconds anyway. So if the race would have finished now, that would put him somewhere around 7th or 8th place. But you know, it's fairly straightforward, but confidently done from Ben. Can he build up that 3 seconds in our remaining 5 laps? It is a bit of a shorter race because of the weather conditions, so which I'm sure some of these drivers are probably quite relieved about.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will be definitely very relieved that it is a bit of a shorter race. By the way, one little thing I wanted to note on there, of course, we have got the point for the fastest lap. Sally's fastest lap, by the way, was a 29.3 for those who didn't quite catch it. The next fastest lap from any other driver is from Kintick's and P7, who just said it on the previous lap, a 30.1. No one else has set a lap inside the 29s yet. There's only, in fact, 4 drivers that have got a lap time within the 1-minute 30s. Everybody else at the moment is running around in the mid-31s. So that just goes to show how fast Selly is compared to the rest of the pack. Selly is at least 2 seconds faster than the majority of the pack at the moment. So Selly is just on another planet in these wet conditions. He's absolutely loving life. Volokongan in second is running a second and a half a lap slower. So Selly is just, yeah, driving away at the front of the field. It's great to see someone in their absolute element doing as well as they can. But yeah, back to that fight between Ben JS and Foxboo. It's yeah, I can understand why Ben JS wants to track position, of course. If there is a mistake that comes from Foxboo and Kintick's and they get a penalty themselves, Ben JS saves himself a position. But at the same time, him fighting Foxboo that hard on that previous lap has brought Kintick's back into penalty range of Ben. So at the moment, it's only going to cost him another place. So it's a hard one to fight for Ben, because do you want to keep the track position or do you want to let them through so that you don't lose further places to the drivers further behind? It's a bit of a difficult one to try and manage.
Yeah, very much so. I was just riding on board with Kintick's and I realised how pointless as well, because I can't see from the onboard camera, and it's even worse for the drivers. I wonder what it's like in VR now. I've not actually raced in F1 23. For everybody's safety, I go for the commentary box seat, not the driver's seat. But I wonder if that's even worse in VR.
Oh God, yeah.
That's got to be. Rain in VR is an experience. That much I can tell you from other racing games. But you're much lower to the ground in an F1 car, so you get that much more spray. And I can't imagine the Halo does anything for rain dissipation. Either way, Kintick's is well. You can see that gap is more kind of maintaining itself at the moment. So Foxblue and Kintick's just basically keeping pace with Ben at the moment as we are heading towards the closing stages of this race, and Kintick's gets a bit uncomfortable coming through Parabolica, but manages to keep the what I call the questionably coloured car through. That's been the livery I've had the least favour for, in fairness. No disrespect meant to the team, it's not my thing. Okay, pink on purple, why? But anyway, Ivory Mike are reminding us he's still with us. Still hanging on in there, but has made his penalty count even worse, which it's that much easier to wander off the road in very, very wet conditions.
Yeah, and it's one of those things as well, when you're running around at the back and not really fighting with anyone, you tend to get a little bit less concentrated. And actually, a lot of the times it ends up being easier to get a track limits penalty when you're not fighting anybody, because you're not fully focused in on the race. So yeah, not a surprise, unfortunately, for either, but it's still, yeah, good to see him racing around in 15th despite the damage that he picked up on the first lap. So great to see him still going. And yeah, I don't want to pile even more hate onto that livery, but I do kind of agree with you. It's a bit of a colour clash, isn't it? It definitely stands out. We'll say that. It definitely stands out as Ben just got a second penalty. So any chance he had of maybe saving some places has gone out the window now. That's his second penalty of the race. I just saw him catch that on the inside of Ascari. I think Larkin is still just within penalty range at the moment of Ben, but Larkin, for some reason, in the second phase of this race, is just kind of falling away from this pack in front. He was keeping pace well at the start after pitting, but yeah, I don't know, something's just not kind of clicking really for Larkin in the second half of this race. He's just falling a bit further back at the moment.
Here comes Fox Blue on Ben. Is there an opportunity? He has things about it on the inside line. How big was your brave pill that you took? He's opted not to go for it. It could be that Larkin has gone into bring it home mode at this point. Again, we don't know how long these drivers have been awake for. So it is highly possible that he's just gone, you know what, I'm not going to push any further. Kintix was closing in a bit on the back of Fox Blue. And that's the thing with a wet race as well. If you're tired, if you're fatigued, you've got to somehow find that mental concentration to keep the car under control. And as well demonstrated by Kintix, that's a straightforward braking zone into the Del Loggia. Normally, you hit the brakes around that bridge area, down several gears through the chicane, and off you go. But when the car is determined to snap away at any given moment, and it's not always consistent lap to lap as to when the car is going to let go. Oh, a bit of a slide there from Kintix. Look how much momentum that destroyed. He was really hounding Fox Blue. One small mistake in the beginning of Ascari, and that's nearly a second that's cost him.
Yeah, that is a real shame as well, because obviously they are fighting for position. That could be a top 5 finish on the board for Kintix if he can get the move done on Fox Blue. So Fox Blue now, I think, has got to take the opportunity to try and pass Benjay and give himself a bit of a buffer to back of Kintix to try and maybe save a top 5 for XE Sports. It would be a great result for them after a really good result in Miami. So see what they can do. But again, we're noticing, I think, now a lot of differences between what people's kind of downforce levels are at the moment in this race, because Ben JS was able to breeze past Fox Blue in a straight line like he wasn't there, but Fox Blue can barely close in on the back of Ben down the straight on the next lap. So yeah, he's definitely not got the straight line speed really to make a move. I think he's hoping Ben makes a mistake on the road. But yeah, Kintix, look at that. Within one chicane, he's right back on the back again of Fox Blue. He's got a lot of speed as Kintix just not had the track position in this race. I think you've got to say, if he had the track position, he'd be running up at the front, running for a podium. Definitely, he's got the pace. But yeah, wet weather conditions, if you're not in the track position early on, you're never really going to get the track position late on.
Very, very true indeed. As again, sticking with this 3 at the moment, the rest of the field are kind of occupying their own bit of real estate, really. No one's close enough to challenge. Speed Kai and Duil haven't really looked at those all race long, but they are fairly close for 10th position. So last part of the top 10 being contested a little bit, but certainly the closest battle is that battle for 5th position. Fox Blue, again, exactly as you say, Kai, he gets very, very close on the exit of Ascari, but Ben just has that straight line speed, and having less downforce on when the weather is this bad is, in my opinion, very, very, very brave indeed.
Yeah, it's really brave, like you say. It's difficult conditions, but they're doing a brilliant job at the moment, is everybody in this field. We are officially now on the last lap, and just a reminder for everybody, once again, Selly and Volakongan are in this race. The top 3 are almost equally spread out, nearly 7 seconds apart, and all 3 of them have had a really good race for different reasons. Selly driven away at the front with pure speed. Volakongan very safe, very good performance. Is that making a few places early on in this race from a less than optimal qualifying, but has absolutely sliced his way through the field at the start and found himself in a good position as that fight for 5th continues on into the second chicane. Fox Blue thinking about a move down the inside, but just not the gap to make the move, and Ben holds on to 5th for the time being.
Oh, Kintix gave Fox Blue a bit of a nudge there. Foxblue had nowhere to go because he's nose to tail with Ben as well. But is that going to be the last opportunity realistically for Foxblue, knowing that the straight line speed advantage that Ben has got in that fifth place car? I mean, it's all going to be for nothing anyway. The penalty will drop him behind Kintix anyway. But Larkin has fallen too far back. And Foxblue has to think about it. He just went to that inside line at the same time Kintix did. And over the line, your winner here in Monza is the NSX car, Selly. I mean, that was never really in any question. A class of one for the NSX car. Volakongan comes home in second with YK 17 MTK wiggling his way over the line, trying to throw his car into the wall. Liam Craig will take fourth, but who is going to finish where out of this particular three? It looks like Parabolica didn't go particularly well for Ben's chasers. The penalty will drop Ben down 2 places. Foxblue 5th. Kintix 6th, Ben 7th. Larkin had a very, very late challenge from Cross Liam for 8th place, but Liam for ERT holds on to that 8th position. Then Cross Liam 9, Speed Kai in 10, Duville in 11, AJ DW 17 in 12. Senna in 13th. Manduka's had several spins and several incidents, not all his fault, in 14th place. And Linus, what might have been for him, the ABS driver, he's the only man to have been through the pits twice. So if the mandatory pit stop rule was in place, he'd be the only actual finisher because everyone else would be disqualified.
Well, I think ABS might put a line into the stewards to say that
can we reinstate the rule?
Yeah, can we reinstate the rule before I crosses the line? But yeah, it's a shame for Linus. Like you say, Linus was he had a real good opportunity. He had a great qualifying, but yeah, his race was pretty much over from the first corner, sadly, and was never able to make it up. But yeah, shame for Linus, but plenty of other people had really, really good races and a lot of great drives from a lot of people there in that race. I think all of our top three, like I said, for many different reasons, had really, really strong races on the board there for them.
That they did. So it is just as a confirmation before any steward's intervention. I think the major points positions are remaining as they are in all due fairness. It is NSX Selly with the fastest at the only man into the 29s and by some margin as well at the top spot. Volakongan in second, YK 17 MTK third, Liam Craig fourth, Foxblue fifth, Kintix sixth, Ben JS 4412 and seventh, Larkin 8th, Cross Liam 9, Deville in 10th, AJGW 17 and 11. Sometimes it takes me longer to read the name than actually the position number. Senna 96 and 12th, Manduka in 13th, Linus Donovan 14th, Ivory Mike 15, Speed Kai retired I think too early because he's suddenly down to 16th. He was up in 8th or 9th, something like that. So we lost NLR Justin, we lost Gendrick, and we also lost Campbell from that race. And that is race number 19 done. Again, a big thank you to everybody that has been very kind and generous to push us over our donation target of £1,000. We did achieve that a little while ago. So huge thank you to everybody that has been involved in that. And that spells the end of your stint, does it not, Mr. Carmentalist?
It does, yeah. That spells the end of it. It was a nice short stint for me in the morning. I've had it a lot easier than most of you other commentators.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I absolutely have. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And like I said at the start of this one, I think I've caught the commentary bug again. It's my first commentary in about 6 months, and I've definitely caught the bug again. So hopefully I'll be back to do a bit more commentary, hopefully in the near future, which will be great to see. And yeah, let's see how far we can get that donation. Let's see if we can get past the 1,100 mark and keep adding it up. We're at 1,025 at the moment, so let's try and get past the 1,100 mark, and maybe we'll get some other people to sing.
I'm not volunteering myself there. So we will see. Now, I just asked for mystery position, which I thought had already been agreed. But what do we reckon? First, what would be 19th? Hazard a guess. What do you think the mystery position was?
Oh, mystery position. I'm going to say 12.
Oh,
Let's go 12.
You were close. The wheel I rolled was 10th. Now, unfortunately, I'm not sure who that was off the top of my head because we did have some disconnects. So again, not 100% sure on what incentive or penalty is about to be applied to the 10th place finisher. Just going to make that known in chat as well. So that is kept track of. What I should have done was actually show it on stream as well, so my apologies there. And it is... Oh, wow.
Oh, dear. Uh-oh.
Now, well, the only reason I've said that is... and I'm just going to kind of print screen that for chat as well. Triple points for 10th place.
Ooh,
which
wow.
isn't... Well, I mean, it's something better than nothing, let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
But it's okay. It's a low-paying, point-paying position, but bravo, whoever it was that finished in 10th, because I'm afraid I'm not sure who that was, because we did have some disconnects towards the end of that race, so he did kind of affect the positions as I read them out. Can't see the wheel. Yeah, that was my fault, Jess, because I didn't put the wheel on the stream. My fault. I'm rusty at the streaming side. I usually just turn up and shout. So it was 10th position, triple points involved for them. So I will. We also have to do, because we have to decide the random track, which I at least have time to set that up for, because we have got to move on to our next lobby. So. Yes, race number 20 will be coming up very, very shortly. Yeah, this is the point where I'm kind of scrabbling around. So I like to have everything kind of planned and set. Whenever I am streaming, like I say, it has been a while, so hence my kind of mad scrambling around for trying to sort everything out. I need to figure out who my host is. My host is actually J. Cole, who already has me added to... I'm pretty sure I hosted from him earlier, so I shouldn't have to go through the mad, frantic adding of people, what have you. Indeed, I do have J. Cole added. So we will be deciding the random track once all the drivers are in. And the reason for doing it that way is to prevent anybody getting any last-minute practice in and trying to gain any kind of advantage. Although by this late stage, people are probably spending more mental energy staying awake than anything else.
I think they are, aren't they? At this point, I think they're just thinking, please just get the random track out of the way. Let's hope it's not something horrendous, and we'll that. Yeah, I'm gonna make my move after this one. So please do.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure sharing the box with you, sir.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure as well. Been nice to commentate with you for the first time. I'm just going to drag Joseph in as well, hopefully, or maybe Joseph is hearing us and we are ready for you to jump in, Joseph, into the commentary booth. So yeah, been an absolute pleasure, and can't wait to see how the rest of this one goes.
Yeah, absolutely so. So thank you very much, Car Mentalist, for being my co-pilot, trying to keep me on the straight and narrow. It's a difficult job. You held it well.
Thank you very much.
So yes, we will get the random track decided once everybody is in the lobby, and J. Cole has the very unenviable task of being the host, but joining me in the box should be Joseph. Joseph, are you with me, sir? Not yet, it would seem. Hopefully soon. But good morning to everybody that is with us in the chat. Monica would be interesting with tired drivers. It's not on the wheel, I'm afraid. And that is cruel. That is very cruel. Oh, goodness me. That would be... I'm glad you're not the lobby host or the hobby loast. Apparently I've been sent a request. Yes, there we go. I thought I already had J. Cole on the list, but I now have him. Jolly good. Joseph, are you with us yet, sir? Unfortunately, no. Oh, he's having some Discord issues. Joseph, try again. Denied. Unfortunately. We will get... Joseph can't hear a thing, so no. Unfortunately, we can't hear you either. It's going well, but I mean, in fairness to everybody that has been involved behind the scenes, it's technical troubles are always going to happen, especially when you're having drivers from various different platforms, all trying to compete on the same field. Different people with different technical abilities and what have you. You're gonna have difficulties, and no matter how well you plan an event, as well I know that there could always be something that completely derails you. So I had one of my worst commentaries ever fairly recently, where with all the planning and practice, everything went well, and then loaded into the server and I couldn't change camera. So the camera was stuck on my car, which was retired in the pit lane. So and then I had a power cut straight afterwards. So it was kind of like, okay, what else? What else can go wrong? Oh, goodness me. So we are waiting for the drivers to come and join us. I have had the invite to... Where up? Joseph, unfortunately, still having some difficulties. So the lobby is not up for me to join just yet. Round number 10. Joseph.
Temporary solution. How's that?
Oh, he's going through his Xbox.
Now. Yes. It'll be for a minute while I just reboot, but I'm here anyway.
Hello, Joseph. Glad to have you, at least temporarily. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well. A little tired, but I've slept well. I've slept on the thought that the 24 hours of F1 continues in the morning, so I'm raring to go for this.
How long have you been awake for?
About an hour and a half. Does it sound like I'm...
Well, no, it's only because I don't know how long people have been going for.
okay.
I just about managed a bit of sleep, but then I've got no excuse as far as Jess was the absolute one of the heroes through the night for the commentary team. But oh goodness me, some people are putting in some absolutely bonkers hours to keep the show on the road. So huge respect to everybody. So, closing stages of the event, Joseph. Have you been enjoying it thus far?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the reception to it has been amazing. I've hardly seen any issues. You know, as you mentioned, shout out to all the commentators, the admins, and of course the drivers who have been pretty much running to time. I know that's tricky across a 24-hour period, but everybody can be relieved. We're nearly there. We've hit our target, and I think that's the main thing.
We did indeed. So again, huge thank you to everybody that was very generous in their donations. I'm told that Nathan Ritchie will have to sing again. He did sing earlier. I was privy to him being turned into Elsa. So fair play. That's sorry. I'm hopeless at the multitasking thing. I was trying to sort my lobby invite out, which I have now got. Joseph, I see you are there. Good to see. So this is our random race. So once our drivers are in, the wheel will be rolled, and then it will be decided which of the five. Well, there's 5 tracks still in the wheel. Bear in mind, we have had numerous random races leading up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I did race 8 last night. It was China, and you've got to get those out of the way, haven't you? There were a few moans and groans, I think that's fair to say. But, with the options limited now, I don't think anybody can have any complaints about what might be remaining on this mystery wheel, because I missed a few through the night, so it's a bit of a surprise to me as well.
Oh no, there will be people that would complain. Let's be honest. I think that's just people, isn't it?
Both.
Yeah, both indeed. So I just put the display capture on to show what 5 tracks are still on the wheel. China. I'd say China's such an underrated track. Well, from a commentary perspective, at least. So we've got 5 tracks still left in the wheel. It's Hungary, Zandvoort, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, and Qatar are the 5 tracks that still remain. Of those 5, Joseph, if you were trackside, what would you want that to be?
I think considering the mandatory 2-stop and the little rules here and there, I'd quite like to see a Hungary. I don't know what it is about Hungary, but we've seen in the past the 2019 battle, Verstappen Hamilton, that 2-stop, coming into play. I think that's really hard on the tyres, and I think that could be a very tricky one, especially. So, I don't know. I fancy a bit of Hungary this morning.
Hungary is quite right, because I haven't had breakfast. But now, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Josh when I was commentating my race yesterday, near the beginning of the race, near the beginning of the schedule, race 4. And I asked him that question. He immediately said Zandvoort. Just went straight on there. I wonder if he's pained that it's still in the wheel.
It might still go. Is this the last mystery round? I think it is.
It is. It's our final random race of the... and I have the great honour of being the one to pick. So... And I get the great honour. This is actually my first time being involved in the 24 hours of F1. So not only do I have the honour of being able to pick one of the random rounds, but I actually get the honour of finishing the series. I'm actually on the commentary lineup for the final race. I think along with J. Cole. Now, if he isn't asleep by that point, I will be stunned, because he's been the Twitch streamer throughout the entire event. So... absolutely incredible stuff.
Honestly, massive shout out to him, because committing 24 hours in itself is, sort of inhuman, you could say. Just the way that we're not really supposed to operate at, these sorts of hours. We need our sleep, we need our rest, but he has just been grinding out, making sure that everything runs smoothly.
He's just gone, no. Oh, I've put my Discord over the top of the wheel. That was clever of me. 19 people are in. Ecos isn't awake. So, okay. Going to be important for the champ? Well, potentially, yes. It could be important for the championship, which NSX were leading by a short way, but they were being chased very hard by Greenfly, who didn't do particularly well in a very soggy previous race. But you can't really blame them, because, dear Lord, was it wet. It was very, very, very wet in the previous race. I'm basically waiting for the go to throw the wheel, because I think we are still waiting. When even though we know we're one driver short, I think we're still short somebody else, because there's 18 in the lobby at the minute.
Yes, I think somebody is asking for an invite in the Twitch chat, so I'll pop my EA in for him to add, and I'll sort him out. I think that would be the best way of doing this. Good
spot. Can you imagine if that was... I recognise it is Hargreaves. Can you imagine that was some random that say, I feel like joining in. We might notice that. So as soon as I get the go ahead to throw the wheel, I will dutifully do so. I've been told to spin the wheel. Okay. Cool. Here we go then. What's it going to be? One of 5 tracks. Your vote, Joseph, was Hungary. I wouldn't mind seeing Zandvoort come up as well. Nothing really against any of those particular tracks. Although Hungary, I can't remember the last time I even saw Hungary. Here we go then. What is it going to be? Oh, is it looking good for Hungary? It is! It's Hungary!
Is it?
So, yes, good shout. Well, commentator praise there from Joseph, he's the one that called it. It is indeed Hungary for the final random race of the series. Hungary. Oh, what a shout! Sorry, Josh. Zandvoort remained unpicked. But, now this will be interesting, because I bet you there's a number of drivers that haven't touched this track in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Everybody here races in different series, different leagues, different tournaments. It's just going to benefit some more than others. That's the same with any random track. I think, what a shout. Honestly, good morning, the 24 hours of F1. Straight in this morning with the correct guess on the wheel. I'm not taking any rigging allegations or anything. Who is actively picking Hungary as a good track? I just felt like it would be the right one.
Well, we will find out. Now, the weather will remain clear. We've had our wet race. I think we're going to be clear now until the end of the season. The irony is, as I've jumped back into the session to see what our driver update is, we've actually lost one. So somebody really, really doesn't want to do Hungary here. I don't think we have Hargreaves in yet. I appreciate you're trying to sort him out, Joseph. Much appreciated, sir. You have set yourself to spectator. I have held the lobby up, not in this series, a long time ago, but I have held the lobby up by forgetting to go into spectator. I was doing the traditional thing, and you'll appreciate this, Joseph. There are times when you have to fill in when you're waiting for, like we are now, for drivers to join us. And whereas the lobby was actually waiting for me on this occasion to select spectator.
It's the worst thing. You're just sitting there because sometimes you can go for a drink, you can go to the toilet, you can sort yourself out, and everybody's screaming at you at the Discord, in the Discord, which you can't see because you're downstairs getting a glass of squash or whatever other drink you want, and yeah, you're not in spectator. So you come back up, you realise you're a minute late, and yeah, you're the one being waited for. It's happened too many times, but well, it happens.
It does. It does. I may as well turn the display capture off now, and we'll look at the lobby. And we're going to 17.
Oh.
Okay, a little bit. Wasn't quite expecting that, but we are counting down. I have no control over that bit, ladies and gentlemen. That is up to the lobby hosts and organisers and what have you. Right. Well, I also want to bring up the championship standings. They should be amended by now, which they haven't been just yet. So, all right. Hungary, who are we going to follow? Anyone in particular you want to follow through qualifying?
Not really. I mean, the way we've been doing it last night is whoever appears first.
Whoever appears first, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Australia, they ended up crashing.
Oh, no! Oh, dear. Well, yeah, I cannot remember the last time I've commentated Hungary. I genuinely have no idea. So this is going to be fantastic. But we start with 17 drivers. We did have 18. Who we've lost, I don't entirely know. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Hargreaves in. So that's Cone Racing that haven't got their representative. A bit of a shame, but we are loading in now. We will be loading in. Again, as a reminder, one-shot qualifying. And then 50% race, which here is 35 laps. Looks quite cloudy, but that won't make any particular difference. It's not going to be wet. Just waiting for the drivers to load in. Just going to make sure I'm looking in the right place, which I am. Jolly good. As I go, for those watching my streaming efforts, I apologise wholeheartedly. Now we're counting in. Are we counting into a grid, or are we counting into one-shot qualifying? That's worrying me slightly. It is one-shot qualifying. Oh, good. Just double checking. Hargreaves, I think you were slightly late, along with Jesler as well. All right, for me, it has chosen Kazizel. Oh, now this should be quite a strong lap then, judging certainly by early form. Soft tyres, as you would imagine, coming through 1, 2, and 3, and Selly for NSX, our championship leaders, has been disqualified, so will be starting in last. Oh my!
I think that's one of their mandatory starts at the back things. I still don't quite know how it works, but they turn around, don't they?
That is true. Actually, there have been some challenges that. There have been a few moments where some drivers have opted to do so. And again, fair play to them. They're leading the championship by not necessarily a healthy margin, but a big enough margin that they can do that. So fair play to them. They're being very good sports on this one. But we are watching Kazizel coming through the penultimate turn, swing over to the left-hand side, bit of a wiggle on the exit. Oh, a little bit deep potentially, but get the power down. What's the pole time going to be? It's a 1:15.206 currently. And I think it remained that way, so Kazizel takes the top spot.
Nice stuff there. One of the closer ones I've seen, only about 400s in that shorter circuit. Of course, you are bound to get those slightly more subtle differences, but it's EMM, I should say, on pole position ahead of ABS's Tony Ritchie, who was here last night, so it's good to see him back this morning, along with a few other familiar names in that top six for me. Daniel Kuja, Elliot Nor and Rocco, all names that I very much recognise from last night. So, if that's anything to go by, brilliant race in store.
Oh yes, we're in for several names that I've had the pleasure of contacting before: Tony Richet, Daniel Koya, Elliot Nuran, C unarmed or Kunarmed. I think it was pronounced several different ways. Saw him in the earlier part of this series, of this championship, I should say. So yeah, this should be fun. I'm going to have to very rapidly load a track map. Whilst we're waiting to grid up is when I'll do that, because like I said, I haven't covered Hungary in a very long time. So I am definitely doing that. So hang on, let me just Hungaro ring. I can't even spell it, but my brain's just not working whatsoever. No, I can't. Hungary. Right, come on, brain. Hungaro ring. Right, you'll do. Give me that. Right, fine. So yes, very close grid. Again, very, very, very short lap. Despite the fact there's 14 turns, it is a very fast track. So overtaking opportunities not that plentiful here. And ironically, it's a fast lap, but it's not all about top speed. It is very much about car balance, this circuit, if memory serves.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of downforce being slapped on. It might even be a makeshift setup for some of these guys, with it being a random track, because they don't know exactly what they're coming into. But by this stage of the game cycle, you'd think these guys are prepared for absolutely anything. That's why they're here in a 24 hours of F1 race. They wouldn't be prepared otherwise. So, yeah, that's always a good start. But, yeah, overtaking, as you mentioned, tricky, not a particularly long straight. And then once you're out of turn one, it's only a short dash to turn two. So I do like seeing those switchbacks, though. Drivers, you know, just sort of backing off and then going for it down in towards the second corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, wondered how you knew all the corner names. I never go to a commentary box without a track map. But we are lining up to start the race, not missing the race start this time. 5 lights on. It is time to wind them up and to let them go. Now, who is going to be bravest on the brakes? Heading down towards turn 1. We did start with 19 cars. Fantastic. Glad to see that we had those late joiners actually able to get onto the grid. Lots and lots of jostling. Daniel Coyer looked like he had a pretty good dust. Tony Richet ran the outside line. Oh, Kazizel had a bit of a lag moment there. Jumped him back up into the lead. Interesting tactic. But I'm hoping we're not having lots of desync here. But Tony Richet, inside line, outside line, and then a gesticulated hand between himself and Kazizel. Does the ABS driver take the lead? He does indeed before we get down towards turn 4.
Yeah, Shizuka Kazizel taking an early hit there on the medium tyres. But interestingly, Tony Richet did seem to just go straight through him there at one point. Hopefully that's not another lasting issue contact, and there's quite significant contact actually between Casper Flack and Friday there, I think, with the latter getting stuck on the outside cover turn 7, and the Children in Need livery is completely around. So a horrible start for Luke, that is, of CSL.
Oh dear, oh dear. But there is a fair bit of lagging going on, unfortunately. So I was actually running on board with Sully just at the point that impact happened. That's Rocco Round, I think. I'm trying to catch up with his name. He keeps moving. Oh, he's on the inside line coming through that penultimate turn. So, but again, I think this is probably some people maybe being a bit too brave too early, but equally a bit of unfamiliarity as Canarmed is come in, unfortunately. Early pit stop required, usually requires a front nose, especially as he was on the soft tyres as well. Did not go well for him. But Richet up into first. Daniel Coyer for Greenfly up into second. That's been my favourite livery all championship long. Kazizel in third, being challenged by Verstappen. Oh, nearly impact. Well, there has been impact. That's very brave to try and outside manoeuvre through turn 5 for Verstappen. Can't quite get it done. Elliot Naren's got a great ringside seat. Beg your pardon, it was Elliot Naren that was trying the outside manoeuvre. Couldn't quite pull it off. Then you got NLR Knuth right behind. That's another one of my favourite liveries. I have a thing for green and black, and I make no apologies for it. Most people starting on the mediums, a few soft starters, but certainly the top two, Tony Richet and Daniel Coyer, they've crossed swords many times on the on sim racing F1 battlefield. They know how to race against one another, but they're making their soft tyre strategy work so far.
Absolutely, and I'm watching this battle for fourth still between Elliot Naren and Verstappen, and Elliot Naren's got the exit here, and he's been trying desperately to get past. There was contact going in towards turn 12. Elliot Naren was late on the brakes, and he's got to be again here around the outside into turn 1. Verstappen climbs all over that curve. NLR Knuth was down the inside there, I think, as well, simultaneously. He's ahead now of Elliot Naren, who's back up the inside. Knuth in the green and black all the way around the outside. Might have to back out here. Another twitch of the steering wheel from Elliot, still wheel to wheel and keeping it fairly clean, you have to say. That gap has opened up massively from third to fourth.
It is indeed nearly 4 seconds in that gap now, as whilst these guys are fighting. Selly is up to 7, starting last, certainly near the back. Up into 7th position now for NSX, so he's stormed his way through the field. Whilst these guys fight, they're actually bringing the next pair, which is Miami and Jesler. Jesler also a late start. As soon as I mentioned Miami, a commentator curse on him as he's had a disconnection from the session. I'm sorry, I'll take that one on me. That's the XL car that has had their driver having technical difficulties. Hopefully he's able to rejoin. But it is Richet and Coyer up front at the moment. But that battle for fourth is absolutely intense at the moment. Here they come again over the line. What are they going to be able to do? Can Verstappen hold off the advances of Elliot Naren? Well, they're a little bit more spaced out this time when they come through turn 1. But it is not going to stay that way for long.
Starting to calm down a little bit. Rocco overtaking the stricken Miami car. Hopefully I can sort him out in getting back in, but no promises at this stage. Lap 4 of 35, you've got 4 soft runners behind Verstappen and Elliot Naren, who was actually causing a lot of the hold-up in this battle as well. I think the soft runners will be quite disappointed that they haven't been able to make more progress, but NSX Selly, I should say, who is 7th from 17th, taking that hit in qualifying. A brilliant start so far.
So far, so good then for NSX, the top 2. Getting close once again. Daniel Coyer for Greenfly starting to reel in the leader a little bit. Is he going to start to challenge? Well, they know full well that how each other race. They like I said, they know what to expect from each other. They've raced many times on the battlefield. His front wing didn't change, so he's had to pit again. I did wonder why he came in again. So that's 2 pit stops already. Well, he served his mandatory 2 pit stops by that point. As Miami is... I saw he was rejoining the session, but he's still ghosted, unfortunately. And Selly is in. That's early, even on the soft tyres. Has he got damage, I wonder? As Elliot Naren has managed to get past Verstappen. No, there's no front wing change. Gone onto the medium tyres, but like I say, it is a mandatory 2-stop race, as every race has been. Someone asked how many races remain. There are 3 races remaining in this championship, including this one. So we conclude on race 22. We're on lap 20. No, we're not. We're on race 20, I beg your pardon, of this, what has been a fantastic 24 hours of F1 2023.
Just watching Selly, he's rejoined right behind Walter, and he's having to get an early move done here. Good exit out of turn number 3 and around the outside at turn 4. He was always going to make that move. He would have perhaps appreciated it if he was in front of the car already, because he's got a pocket of 7.6 seconds of clean air to really push into. I don't think he's just trying to undercut Verstappen, Elliot Loren here for 4th. I think he's going a little bit further and wants to try and undercut into that podium position and get the track position, which is oh so vital around here.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Also, Kazizel has been closing in on the top 2. So that gap now under 1.5 seconds between Kazizel and Daniel Koya. So Daniel Koya very much occupying the mirrors of the ABS driver, Tony Richet, the Frenchman. Tony Richet somewhat the main gun of ABS, you could argue, or certainly one of them. Riding on board then with the very pink Shazoo. There's an old esports name, Shazoo. Kazizel doing his thing to close in that gap. The soft tyres probably have lost their tyre advantage by now. Hungary not known to be kind on its tyres. So the medium runners, or certainly the medium starters, will now really have a bit of advantage. And there we go. We have got our first track limits penalty. It is Justin in 12th that has been the first to earn the ire of the track limit god.
Shock horror, it's on the exit of turn 4. The most difficult part of the circuit to keep it within the white lines. But yeah, Justin, he won't have to serve that. That will just be added onto his race time at the end, but there's still a long way to go. 30 laps remaining, 29 when Tony Richet crosses the line, and he's still under pressure here. Kazizel's caught back into the DRS range, so he's firmly in the fight as well. We see a move into the first corner. It was very aggressive last night when I was watching these two in the wet at China. I wonder if that's an omen for what could happen here tonight. This morning. Oh my words! Tonight. Oh, I'm going to go back to bed.
Yeah, with just as I cut to Speed Kai to see what was going on here for the battle for 9th, Rocco had a big wiggle coming out of turn 10. Oh, we've got trouble, have we? Who is that? Is that Walter? How on earth have you had an issue there? What on earth has he done to detonate his front wing level with the pit lane exit? How?
I wish I knew.
Someone wasn't paying attention, I dare say. Well, that's a new one on me. He wasn't in the pits when that happened. He was on track, but that's such a strange place. I mean, I suspect he's possibly just going to take his eye off the ball and touch the grass, and that's catapulted him into the wall. Tony Richet is in from the race lead, so Koya and Kazizel both continue. What will the rest of our soft starters choose to do? No, they've chosen to continue. So it's an earlier stop as far as the soft starters are concerned for Tony Richet. Medium tyres for him. Where will he reappear in relation to Selly is the question. That's Friday 3732 that has come into the pits as well. Where is Selly? That's going to be the question. He is just working his way alongside and past Miami. Tony Richet is still ahead, so the undercut has really brought him in. Bear in mind he was still several seconds behind the lead pair at the point that Selly came into the pits. There, you've just seen Tony Richet go through the shot, so he's within a second and a half, but he's in this big squabble for currently 11th place. So yeah, Tony Richet has kept the net race lead at the moment, but he needs to be making moves quickly to get through this pack.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Selly, let's not forget, undercut from around a 5 or 6 second gap. So this is important for him, but unfortunately there's a car between the two. Oh my word! Tony Richet off the track, wheel banging there with Justin as he tries to keep it on the inside, almost some pretty big contact. Tony Richet could well have been spun off there into the wall. Selly's going to have to try the switch back at turn 12, but Orlando's defending very well. He's being pushed on the exit of the corner. Again, having a little look around the outside. It's offline, getting onto the marbles there, but Selly really struggling to get through here, and that only hands a greater advantage to Tony Richet. Daniel Kuja's in the pit lane. We have Casper as well. We have Rocco. they will all surely emerge behind these as Selly goes alongside Orlando and down the inside into the first corner. Who's that on the inside? It's Daniel Kuja side by side with ERT Justin, and he's quickly dispatched as those absolutely brand spanking new medium tyres do the trick.
Yeah, but that was very, very close. He did not want to be caught up behind anybody already having a squabble. So Daniel Koya with 1.5 seconds of free space. Look at Tony Richet. That is all over the back of G. Hargreaves as another penalty is on the board. Mattis Kassar. I don't know if he's any relation to Danny Kassar. I know he drives a very fast Honda Civic. As Sally has just dispatched of Justin. Whoa! Big snap of oversteer from ERT Justin there, just as I ride on board with him. I know I'm big, but I wouldn't have caused that much of an oversteer just as I joined you. He's got Orlando that is staring at the back of him. Miami staring at the back of him as well. So that particular squabble continues. And into the pits comes Knuth, the NLL car from 4th position. So still some more pit stops to do. Jesler, he's taking his softs that bit longer. Curious decision. Few hard runners as well, so we know that Ken Arms has been through the pits twice, so he's probably pretty fed up with life at the moment. Friday and Rocco all coming out, well, those two coming out on hard tyres. Well, that's a curious decision, bearing in mind it is a two-stop mandatory race.
Yeah, I think they might just feel like a sort of soft, medium, soft, or whatever it was they were planning down there. I mean, some of them have changed from the mediums, so maybe just trying to, I don't know, use all three.
Oh, Sally!
Little challenge.
Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Joe. Sally, he's trying an outside manoeuvre on Matthew Kassar and had actually touched the grass and hit one of the actual curbings and nearly went airborne. The nose of the car was up in the air for a brief moment there. That has cost him 1.5 seconds, if not damage to the car in some way. But he was trying an outside manoeuvre coming down into turn 4. Dangerous at the best of times. The speed car has had trouble. That's on the run between turns 11 and 12. Again, an odd place to have a particular incident, but that is what he's managed to do. And then gets a shove on the backside from Selly, as Jesler has brought his car into the pits along with Speed Kai. He's coming in as well. So damage to his car, more than likely. Jesler finally getting rid of those tyres. They're probably much more like sponge by now.
Yeah, the last to get rid of the soft tyres, and yeah, you can see a lot of cars blasting past him down that start-finish rate. One of them's making the move. I thought Justin was going for it down the inside on Casper Flack, or indeed the other way round, as those tyres shouldn't really be in that position to be able to do that. Friday jumping Speed Kai there as well. Somebody's asking very quickly as Selly, is he about to make the same move again, just without hitting the outside curb? He did hit it, but didn't go face first over it. Somebody's just asked, is this a league race? We've done 20 in the last 21 hours, so make of that what you will.
Yep, as I'm keeping an eye on Knuth, he's just gone past Justin coming down into turn 6. Fairly straightforward manoeuvre. The starting mediums not yielding as much as fresh mediums. Well, there's no shock there, obviously. But it's slightly further towards the top of the field. The gap between Tony Richet and Daniel Koya, now 1.7 seconds between the former squabbling duo. What about Selly? He is stuck behind Matthew Kassar. Whoa, no he isn't. He's trying again. He's trying an outside manoeuvre again. I mean, that's determined. But, I mean, Selly is an unbelievably fast driver, as he proved very much in the previous race at Monza. But he's got no ERS left. And Kassar thought about coming back at him coming into turn 1, which, of course, he was perfectly entitled to do. Different tyre strategies, yes, but that is still for position. So Kassar could have made the move. But that's going to put Selly in a very difficult position now, because he has got single figures worth of ERS energy left. So that is going to be a problem for him, and we're not even halfway through the race yet.
Yeah, it will be, but of course he's going to be making an earlier pit stop than the drivers that he is racing at the moment. Net second, Casper Flack. Net third, NLR Knuth. So yeah, they have got to overtake Matthew Kassar, and what we saw from that was that Selly was having a hard time. I don't know if there was any lag, a bit of unpredictability, but it's just about how quickly the cars behind dispatch, and then we will really have a race on our hands. Casper Flack Will he go for it into turn 12? There was a bit of ERS usage, and if Casper gets caught up in that trap, he will also be a bit like Selly and having not much of it left to use, so he's got to be careful.
Yeah, Casper Flack, as you say. Oh dear! Well, that somewhat shook up that particular collection as Matt Cassar. I wonder if he had a sudden change of heart as whether he was coming in or not. I didn't quite see how that's been occurred. Oh, well, that's made your day even worse. Usually that precedes a retirement, but that will incur a point penalty if he was to do that. But he's of course not doing so. The NLR. No, that's not NLR. Sorry, it's the other Justin. There's two Justins. He's the ERT one. There's a bit of a clue in the tower, Kodiak, for God's sake. It's the ERT, the Elite Racing Team entrant, with that 5-second penalty. So next time he comes in, he will serve that, so that cannot be appealed. Well, that is the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So that puts Selly up into 6th position now. His next opponent is G. Hargreaves, who has not been into the pits just yet. So that's going to be somewhat of a mobile chicane as far as Selly's concerned. He's tired 4 laps younger, pounces on G. Hargreaves on the exit of, well, I say the twisties, the whole circuit's the twisties. Good exit from turn 11, and that has given Selly the opportunity to go through into 5th position. Kazizel and Elliot Naren have come into the pit. Now, where are they going to reappear? They're on a very different strategy to the likes of Tony O'Shea and Daniel Coyer, and also Selly. Selly, I think, is on a one-man strategy. He was very much a one-man class of the previous race, right behind Kazizel. G. Hargreaves, arguing with Casper Flatch. That Casper easily dispatching of G. Hargreaves, those much fresher tyres, keeping him in touch with Selly.
Absolutely. Just being asked if Knuth has any damage. He's been in again to the pit lane. That's that's his 2nd stop. So he must have had to change a wing there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe if that was related to the spin we saw earlier on, and he just went into the back of the cars that bunched up there. I'm not too sure. But either way, he was fighting for net 2nd, net 3rd. But he's all the way down now in 16th. And he's got to get those medium tyres to the end.
Yeah, that's... Well, that would be a hard job to do. So, we'll see. Oh, that's Verstappen on the back of Kazizel. A strange sentence to ever say in any particular context. But, and that's Verstappen. He's gone deep into turn 13. He's really pushing Kazizel hard here. As that's G. Hargreaves coming getting out of the way. That's serving his... his 1st stop of the day, beg your pardon. And Kazizel absolutely dumped the battery to get away from Verstappen coming out of the final turn. So how much battery does Kazizel have left? Well, actually, he didn't dump too much of the battery at all. He's still in the 80%. Hargreaves has gone onto soft tyres. Well, we know he's going to have to pit again, but that would indicate it's going to be quite a short stint for this particular part of the race. How far can he make those soft tyres go is going to be the question that everyone else wants him to answer. Casper Flatch is back ahead of Selly, I've just realised. So whilst I was looking away, that 3rd place has changed hands. Casper Flatch on 4 lap fresher medium tyres. Selly has very much burnt the best out of them, and most of his battery as well. So his charge towards the top may well start to falter at this point, as he's got Kazizel and Verstappen, who've just come out of the pits, really bearing down on him.
That's become a massive gap, hasn't it, from 2nd to 3rd. Tony O'Shea and Daniel Kaiser in the world of their own once again. Rocco, 3-second penalty. That's from 9th. Won't change too much at the minute. He's on a set of hard tyres. It's a 4-man train from Casper down to QVR. Verstappen. We've seen Verstappen and Kazizel get very close. It's Kazizel this time, a lot closer to Selly, and he's burning the battery because you can see the red light flashing as he goes up the inside. Shizu Kazizel on the freshest medium tyres of this entire train. Make that work again perfectly. Another example of how the open can be of great benefit.
Very much so. Matthew Cassar has found the wall, unfortunately, on the exit of turn 11, I think that was. So that is... I just looked up which team that was. That's the ABS. No, it's not. It's the Velocity car that we have lost Ah, that's a shame. That's just pushing a little bit too hard. Fresh tyres or not, more demand of the tyres than they were prepared to give. Has seen our first retirement of the race. As Justin and Knuth arguing for 14th position. I'm keeping an eye on Verstappen, who's now on the back of Selly. I think Selly has lost any kind of argument or lost any kind of challenge he may be able to give. His tyres absolutely mushed by now. As Verstappen again, he was thinking about an outside manoeuvre at turn 14. Doesn't quite pay off. It's never going to pay off, unfortunately, outside there. But he was trying it nonetheless. I think he's trying to get Selly out of rhythm, as Selly is already out of DRS range to Casper Frasch and Cazizl. Cazizl has basically just passed Casper Frasch like he stood still. Verstappen on the inside line of Selly into turn 1. Is that done? Well, not quite. Selly's trying to mount he was trying to mount a challenge to that, but his tyres just have nothing to give at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Selly, 12 laps on the mediums. It was a brave attempt, wasn't it? Hitting early to try and get out of that train, but I feel like he might be starting to regret this one. We'll have another opportunity to jump the field because he will be pitting earliest again of everybody here, but yeah, will it pay off the second time around when it's really just set him back to where he started in the first one? Brilliant initial recovery. Pace just starting now to stagnate as the tyres wear on as well. And look who's arriving on the scene very shortly. Elliott and Ren, Jesler as well. They left it late with their pit stops. Another 2 competitive drivers to add to this great mixture.
Very much so. G. Hargreaves enjoying his soft tyres in 12th position. He's found Friday, which again is an odd sentence without context. But he's caught him at the worst possible time in that session from turn 6 right the way through to turn 11. Dispatches now of Friday 3732 as Walter has... that's a penalty. Retirement in the pit lane is a points deduction. He's had enough of... that's TES, the Thomas Heng Sim Racing Squad. He's had enough of the race, but a voluntary retirement in the pit lane is a points deduction, unfortunately. Another pair that's reunited, Tony Richet, Daniel Koya up top. But again, that was a bit of a moment there for Tony Richet in the ABS car on the exit of turn 5, but manages to keep the car on the straight and narrow. In fairness to Selly as well, he still maintained his at least a presence in this battle for... Well, it is starting to dissipate a little bit. Casper Frasch falling off the back of Verstappen. He's still staying on the back of the 5th place car, despite the fact his tyres are 4 laps older.
Yeah, it's the ERS situation now as well. He's critically low and behind Elliott and Ren. If he can just get really close coming out of the final corner, he can burn that battery and very easily get past him. It's sort of double whammy with what might be about to hit him as they do round said turn 14, and look how close he is. Look how much drive Elliott and Ren could just pick up. The front tyres absolutely sticking to the racetrack, and there to the right hand side is Elliott and Ren, and he's gaining on Casper Flack as well. Oh, he's boxed him in there, and NSX Selly down the inside goes Elliott and Ren, turns it into a stellar double overtake. Nice one.
Oh, that was perfectly executed from Elliott and Ren. Selly not happy about that. He does indeed manage to get past Casper Flats on the outside line of turn 2. I could almost feel the seething from Selly there. He knew what was going on, but had no means to counter it. Elliott and Ren, a great move, boxing in Selly behind Casper Flats coming down into turn 1, and a double overtake for him. Very great effort there. He is some distance behind the top 2 though, but nothing will stop him pushing on and seeing what he can achieve. But certainly could be challenging for podium. Race win maybe a bit out of reach as they're some 10 seconds down the road or so. But still plenty of action to unfold in this race as we're just over halfway now.
We are. That gap's come down 2 or 3 seconds now. Cazizl with the 7-lap advantage over Tony Richet and 6 over Daniel Kaiser. Yeah, it's going to be close, I think, as they near the end of the stint, which might well be soon, because 12 laps done on those medium tyres, 16 remain, maybe 2, 3, 4 more laps most before the drivers will want to pit their second mandatory pit stop. Selly He's done 15. If he pit now, again, it would be a very similar stint length towards the end of the race. And he's held off from Casper Flack on this occasion, but has lost 2 seconds to the cars in front. The gaps are changing all the time. And NNR Knuth back ahead of Friday, as that earlier than anticipated second pit stop has seen him put down in 12th.
And also Miami and Friday both being on hard tyres. Knuth would have fairly easily dispatched of those two following their respective pit stop strategies. And yeah, Verstappen still on the back of Kazizl, so the argument for third place continues. Even though that gap is coming down between that group of 3, so Kazizl, Verstappen and Elliot Naren, and the top 2. Now flirting around 7 seconds as the top 2 come over the line. This group of 3 just coming through the final turn. And that is Selly into the pits. Now, exactly as you called, Joseph, he would have had to have come in early because of his very aggressive undercut strategy. What's he going to go on to here? Surely it's going to be mediums again. He can't make... Yeah, it's going to be mediums again. There was no way he was going to make softs last for 14 and a half laps. So that's his... Is he the only one to be in twice? No, sorry. Knuth and Canarmed, although Canarmed came in to try to convince his pit crew to actually do what they were told. So a couple of cars have already said their 2 mandatory stops, although Canarmed will have to come in again for the Esports Wales squad. Oh, it's going to be difficult to know where to look, I think, in the closing stages of the race, which is a great problem for us commentators to have.
It is, it always is, and that's why I do like these 2-stop ruling that has been imposed upon the drivers for the 24 hours. It does give them a little extra to think about. Knuth there with a 3-second tyre penalty. Yep, you guessed it. I think that was the exit of turn 4, where he's picked that one up. NLR down in 7th, at least they were earlier in the championship. NSX Selly, obviously racing for the leaders of this championship. That could have been a little spicy one if Selly had left that any later to come in, because Knuth was gaining. Oh, Tony Rishi's lagged out in the pit lane.
Oh no!
Dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, the race leading ABS car, and their driver has lagged out. And Rocco is in as well. He's had enough of those hard tyres, so we can't really blame him for that. Oh well, I said, didn't I? Oh, as I've just jumped to Elliot Naren, his shoulder parted because it's out of the way coming down into turn 2. Wait, I'm sure it wasn't quite as dramatic as I've explained it, but that's how it looked from the external camera. Elliot is as he gets a big snap of oversteer coming through turn 5, really pushing on now to start to challenge, well, Verstappen for what is currently second. But where is that going to put Tony Richet? Of course, he was battling with Daniel Koya. They had that 7-second advantage backwards, but the longer it takes to reconnect, if he can, invite Tony. Well, unfortunately, I'm the streamer, so I can't really do that. Hopefully, Joseph or you or somebody can invite Tony Richet back. But oh my goodness me, that could have quite a ramification for the championship, as Daniel Koya is in. Is it going to be mediums for him? It is indeed. For this stage, mediums really are your only choice. Casper Flatch is in as well. So there's still twists and turns in this tale yet.
There is indeed. I'm just making sure that Tony can add me. I think he's getting onto the wrong person with regards to who needs to invite him, so I'll just direct him to the right place, and then of course I can sort him out. But that's just really handed it, hasn't it, to Daniel Kuja. 3.5 second gap, and it's only growing whilst he's not in the lobby. So yeah, unfortunately that unpredictability for the race lead has gone, but it's still very much there for the podium positions.
It just goes to show that technical difficulty can happen to anybody. So that hands the race lead, or the race lead battle, to Verstappen and Elliot Naren at the moment, with Kazizl not too far back. He's only just hanging on to DRS range, as Selly has dispatched of the ghosted Tony Richet. Oh, such a shame for them. They were looking at a potential win. But Daniel Coy needs to make hay where the sun shines, as the old saying goes. as he himself is coming to complete another lap. He's got 4.5 seconds of fresh air between himself and Jesler as the race lead has changed. Elliot Naren. Oh, he's locked up though, coming down into towards turn 1. Is that an opportunity for Verstappen? No, the door gets slammed in his face as Selly sets another fastest lap of the race on those fresh tyres. 1:17.1 for him. Hargreaves on those soft tyres. He's taken them 9 laps. I would imagine he's going to need to see the pit lane fairly soon, as those soft tyres will be quite dead by now. But still no sign of Tony Richet. How are you? Any luck in getting the ABS driver back in?
No, I think there's been a bit of confusion. He's refusing to add me, so there's nothing I can do about that. So.
No, nothing really more you can do about that. So, try as we may, we can only do what we can. Well, whilst you're doing that, you can't really see what's going on track. So I'll carry on in your stead, because Zizel's getting himself back inside DRS range to the top 2. It's only to Verstappen, who is in the risk of actually falling out of DRS range to Elliot Naren. Elliot now really starting to put the hammer down to build up a gap between himself and Verstappen. Jesler is in, so 13 laps on those medium tyres has been around about the standard. The XE Sports car is very distinct livery. Nothing wrong with that. That gives Selly 5th position. Soft tyres for Jesler. That's about the limit of what they can achieve. They'll be quite unhappy by the time they get there, but Hargreaves, certainly as he's crossed the line in the pit lane, he was a bit stammered coming in there. Potentially either lag or maybe he's had to share the box. Couple more cars in the pits as well. Miami is in to get rid of hard tyres, and Justin for ERT is in as well to get rid of those medium tyres. Is that early for the... I'd say that's the limit of what the soft tyres can do competitively. About 10 laps here in Hungary.
Yeah, that's about right. They tend to be avoided in the conventional one-stop league race, so I'm not surprised to see them just used as a little bit of a, just a spare tyre. You have to use them because, well, they're the quickest tyre. You do want to be able to use a set in these 2-stop races. Elliot Naren, the race leader, is in. I'm still trying on the Tony Richet front, but the host can't really invite, so if I don't get added, then there's still nothing I can do.
Only so much you can do on that one, unfortunately. It is the nature of the beast. Soft tyres for Elliot Naren, so he's going to be pretty rapid for certainly the next few laps as we see Jesler on the back of Knuth. This should be a pretty straightforward overtake for X Esports. And there he goes. Knuth, through no fault of his own, just had no answer there. 12-lap old mediums are never going to contest against fresh softs. Elliot Naren out with fresh air ahead. So where's this going to put him in relation to Daniel Coyer? Well, he's around about 11, 12 seconds back from the former race leader. Can he close that gap in with 9.5 laps to go? Well, Elliot Naren is a very talented driver, so is Daniel Coyer. So that's going to be an interesting question as the unfortunate ABS ghosted car continues to fall through the field and will continue, unfortunately, to fall. That's going to be an interesting progress to keep an eye on. Elliot Naren, and the top 2 are in. So Verstappen and Kazizl, who've been locked in battle for quite a bit of this race, particularly in this stint, have both come in. That's going to hand the lead back over to Daniel Coyer. Selly up into second place now from starting near the back of the field, and only a 2-lap difference on his tyres compared to Daniel Coyer. Can he close in that 4-second gap? Well, earlier on you may have been forgiven for ruling, well, I certainly did rule Selly out for the win, but he is in a pretty strong position here at minimum for the podium.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to quite predict that this would happen based on his downwards trajectory during that middle stint, but the only way is up now. That gap was around about 8 seconds at one point, wasn't it, from the 3rd place driver to the 1st place man, and now it's around 4, and even with the 2-lap tyre deficit, he is still chipping away time, corner by corner. Elliot Naren as well, I quite fancy him to close up, maybe not 6 seconds, because as soon as those soft tyres hit about 25%, they start to just feel awful. And that's a common theme you get with these drivers reporting back. They go, tyres are dead. You've just got to sort of weather that storm, try and be consistent, and see how this race plays out. No mistakes now until the end.
Verstappen getting close to the back of Casper Flats. So Casper on a very different strategy. He's on 4-lap odd mediums. He will not be able to resist the onslaught from behind for too long. So that's the IRT entrant for the International Racing Team. Here we go. And the DRS is so strong down that start-finish line. Casper Flats will have nothing to offer. And Kazizel is very much looking to reinstate his fight with Verstappen. He'll want to be dispatching of Casper Flats. Is he going to go the inside of turn 2? Yes, he does. And Casper Flats doesn't fight it. Probably quite wisely. You know realistically who you're in a fight with. And he knew that wasn't his fight, so he just bowed out of it. And look to see, try and keep his tyres as good as he can for a potential challenge later on. Fastest sector one for Kazizel, why not? But he has, within a couple of laps, resumed his battle for Verstappen, this time for 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. He's leading these along now. I'm sure Kazizel will not really go for an overtake as such, but just hope that Verstappen can DRS him along and see where they really end up, because 5 seconds to Elliott and Ren, they want to be there or thereabouts by the end of the race, but Elliott and Ren on the same sort of strategy. It will be very difficult to catch him. It will be a bit of a patient game, I think, until we get to the final few laps. We have 7 to go. It's another penalty for ERT Justin. That's 6 seconds now. He's got the most of anybody, and he'll drop down, I think, to 17th as it stands, with unarmed getting back into this one, then gaining some positions for Esports Wales.
Yeah, well, he's got another 6.5 to figure out what he's going to do. Kazizel with the new fastest lap of the race in 5th position as he continues to hustle Verstappen, coming through 2 into 3. He's certainly looking like he means business as the ABS car falls outside of the top 10 now. The gap between Elliott Naren and Selly is continuing to fall, as you would expect. But how much life has Elliott Naren taken out of those tyres is going to be the crucial part. Now, Elliott Naren is likely to be able to dispatch of Selly relatively quickly. Not that Selly will make it easy for him, because Selly, because championship. I've just seen the chat, don't jinx it. I'm a commentator, that's my job. So Elliott Naren is really eating away at the gap between himself and Selly. How much life is Elliott Naren going to have in his tyres? Not at the point that he makes the move, but at the point where his tyres fall away, and how much defence is he going to be able to offer back to Selly when the medium tyres come good. But again, there's a 5-lap deficit there. Selly may not gain that tyre advantage back again. So we will see what's going to happen. And Kazizel leapfrogs Verstappen, as they did Casper Flash a few laps ago, and that gives Kazizel 4th.
Yeah, I was just looking at Elliott Naren's lap times, and he did back-to-back 16.8s, dropped to a 17.2 now, so I think maybe just starting to get away from him, but still a brilliant pace compared to Selly. 18.7 on the previous laps. That's a 1.5 second difference at the moment. You can find that by the end of this lap, he's in the DRS zone, and I think he's got more than enough within those tyres to be able to get P2 on track. Dare I talk about the win and a really late charge still with whatever he's got left to catch our race leader? Maybe that's a bit too much to suggest, but either way, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Daniel Coyer has certainly got the pace under control. He's coming through the final turn now. 5 seconds near enough between himself and Selly. So he's losing time against Elliott Naren, but I reckon he's got enough in hand. 5 laps to go here in Hungary. Our final random race of this 24-hour series as Rocker gets his name on the penalty board again. So that is 6 seconds for him now. I think everybody has been through the pits twice now. Yes, they have. Someone Can Armed has been through 3 times again because his team didn't want to change his front wing. Who else can we look at? G. Hargreaves, very late joiner to this race. Didn't get a chance to set any quality laps. Is knocking on the door of the top 10. He's got the hard shot Speed Kai ahead of him to try and dispatch. which in theory shouldn't be too difficult on the fresher and stickier soft tyres. But again, those tyres will start to fall away, exactly as you were saying earlier, Joseph. They don't stay good for long. We have Nathan Richards in chat. Well, you might have noticed I'm going to break the news to you, Mr. Ritchie. We did meet our incentive goal, and you may be a bit disappointed to learn it was me that actually pushed it over the line. So you can blame me for lining you up to sing again.
Apparently, I have to pick the song, so I've got to...
Oh, yes, that was cited.
Yeah.
Just did say that, yes.
We'll see. I'll get some ideas in the intermission. But here comes Elliot Loren for P2. Oh, that's easy. That was very easy with the DRS.
And Selly knew it. He did what he could, but the DRS is too strong, especially with the soft tyres on. There was no way he was going to be able to defend against that. But yeah, coming back to the donation target, thank you very much to everybody with all your generosity throughout the 24 hours for us to have met that £1,000 target. It is amazing that we've been able to raise such a great amount of money for a great charity. So thank you everybody, and again thank you to everybody behind the scenes for keeping the train rolling throughout the night.
Absolutely, we couldn't have done it without everybody, the viewers, the admins, the commentators, the drivers, everybody who's simply just checking in every 5 or 10 minutes to see how their favourites are doing. So it all is going a long way to support those with limited access to gaming. Kazizzle, a big 3-second time penalty, I have to say, for the EMM man. And that will see him drop behind Verstappen, who might well be sitting smugly, knowing that he doesn't really have to make this move.
I suspect that's exactly what Verstappen is going to do. And, well, to be fair, I think anybody would in his position. Kazizzle has had a bit of a pace advantage over Verstappen in this stage of the race, but not so much so that in the next, when the remaining 3 laps, 2.5 if you like, to build up that 3 seconds. So Kazizzle is going to have to hope that Verstappen makes essentially the same mistake. But Elliot Loren is still eating away at that gap to the top, 3.6 seconds. Can he do it? Ooh, I don't reckon he's got enough laps left. He doesn't have a lot of ERS energy left, only 24% or so for Elliot Loren, whereas Daniel Corey is enjoying 60% or more. I would suspect that the green fly is just kind of biding its time a little bit, whereas Elliot Loren's got no real choice. He's got to push. He's built up 1.5 seconds between himself and Selly, but it's the target up front he's looking at. I'm not convinced he's got enough time or tyres left to do it, but we will see.
Back to looking at lap times, and it has dropped off again in the last few laps. Was into the 18s on lap 31, a 17.9 that time around, 18.6. So his slowest for around about 10 laps or so. So you can just see with those lap times how much they are starting to get away from him. It's still around half a second quicker a lap than Daniel Kaya at the front of the field. It won't be enough though with 2-2 still racing.
No, but that's not going to stop him, because again, anything can happen. That dreaded 3-second penalty will hit, could well hit anywhere at any time. All that trouble further down the field. I think someone's had a bit of a moment, but they're still continuing. Was that Justin? It was. There was the ERT car. Oh, he's had a moment, all right. There's no front wing there. So whatever moment he had, send him into the wall. But he is still continuing on. I mean, fair play. You do still, if you finish, you still score. So it is still worth continuing on. And general league racing terms, that would be a retirement. But you just show that car just doesn't want to turn. He could try and steal away the fastest lap. It would prevent a 5-second penalty just to make the indignation even worse for Justin.
Yeah, he's going to get lapped. So unfortunately, he won't have the flying lap to be able to set the fastest lap. Once he completes this lap, it's the race over for him. So that's a shame. He doesn't finish on the lead lap, but he might be at least thankful that he doesn't have to go around again and do a lap of shame, finishing last of all of the running cars. Either way, though, points for ERT, 17th paying out 4 points. And so looking at the standings, every little helps, of course. We've seen punishments, we've seen massive swings with the random rounds, so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So Elliot Noreen has run out of ERS energy, so that is going to very much stunt his charge towards Daniel Coyle. We're on the final lap here. In fairness to Elliot Noreen, he did get that gap down to 2.2 seconds, but I think that's about as far as it's going to go. It may come down by a few more tenths, but it won't significantly. Not unless Daniel Coyle drops it in these last few turns. He's got about 4 of them left to do. Into 12, now through 13, and no such difficulties for Daniel Coyle. And into the final turn, your winner here for the final random round of the championship here in Hungary. It is Greenfly's Daniel Coyle. Big wiggle from everybody. Elliot Rouen, a great charge up to second, but Selly, absolutely full credit, starting last and still coming home on the podium. Joseph, you call the track and you called that result.
Wow. Maybe we should do this every time. If anybody wants something suggested, if you want a result manifested, I can help you with that, because NSX Selly was always bound to have a little bit of pace towards the end of that race, and I'll tell you what, he really did roll the dice with that strategy. I think that's probably the most impressive drive of the 3 on the podium, I have to say. Daniel Kaiser, disappointing that he didn't have that end of race battle with Tony Richet, who didn't add me, so there's nothing I can still do about that. Elliot Naran pushed him all the way, maybe a lap or 2 more to get inside that DRS, but those tyres were rapidly getting away from him. So to continue pumping in the laps that he was doing, fair play to him.
Yeah, I think Friday had trouble on the way to the line because Miami's just gone past him. So Miami actually managed to steal away 12th there. But that is it for this particular race. There are only 2 races left of this championship, and what a championship it has been. Driver of the day, NSX Sally. I can't imagine anyone's going to argue that. From last to third, a superb effort. So, before any kind of stewards' inquiries, it is Daniel Coyle on the top step, Elliot Noren second, Selly in third, Verstappen fourth, Kazizel fifth, Casper Flatch in 6th, Jezza 7, Rocco 8, Knuth 9, G. Hargreaves from not being able to take part in qualifying. That's a storming result for him as well. From 19th to 10th. Superb effort there. Speed Kai in 11th, Miami 12th, Friday 13th. Oh, no, I didn't realise I was going to say that sentence. Friday the 13th. Orlando 14th, Canard in 15th. The ghosted ABS, or Tony Richet in 16th position. Justin was the last finisher, with Walter and Matthew Kassar as our retirements for this race. Wow, what a race that was. What a great call. I mean, okay, you didn't pick it per se, but the randomizer did, but that was a stormer.
I just felt like looking at the other tracks, I was like, what's the boring option here? Hungary. It was bound to be, wasn't it? But yeah, another brilliant result there for F7R's Daniel Kujia. There's sort of side quest in this 24 hours of F1 of Greenfly Racing. It's back to them as an advantage, but them and NSX, a ding-dong battle, you'd think, for the last 2 races.
Looks like it's going to be that way, and well-deserved as well, in fairness. But that is going to bring my particular stint to a halt. I have a break now, and I will be back in the box for the final race. I am hugely honoured to see out this season. My first time being part of the 24 Hours of F1. Joseph, it's been a great pleasure, sir, being in the box with your good self. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Absolute pleasure. Good to be able to commentate with you for the first time.
And hopefully not the last. Now, Mr. Ritchie's not going to be happy with me. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm sure mine wasn't the last donation. I don't actually know what the donation total currently stands at, but it was mine that pushed it over the line. But the irony of that is that he jokingly suggested that I sing "Let It Go" earlier on in the stream. and I told him off for that, and I've stitched him up for singing again.
I'm going to check the donation total because I think that is worth looking at. How far are we over? Somebody said earlier, let's push towards 1,100. We are on, when my Google Chrome tab loads, £1,076. So I think it's been a long way since you might have got us over the target. So don't take full responsibility.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring my particular stint to a close for now. I will be back, like I say, for the final race. We are about to hit race 21 of 22. Waiting for Mr. Richie to come and join in. I don't want to drag him up from the commentary waiting booth. Yeah, Shall I drag him up? See if he's ready. But he may be getting ready for the final race of his stint. He's just got the one left to go. But it has been a fantastic championship this year. Oh, there he is. Hello, mate.
Hello.
You're not very happy with me, are you?
No.
As Joseph has just pointed out, mine wasn't the last donation, so it would have happened anyway. It's just mine was the one that did it at the time.
Well, I'll get you back sometime, Chris. Don't worry.
I dare say you will.
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yes, I dare say you will. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will hand you over to the very capable hands of Nathan Richards and Joseph. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Cheers, mate.